Hey guys, Brendan here. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to demonstrate for you this sound design technique that I've been calling iterative sound design. And why I call it that is because the idea is that you make a sound and then you do some stuff to it and then you save that result. Then you take that resulting sound, do some more stuff to it, save that result, and so on and so forth until you have a whole library of sounds that is unique to you and you can use to hopefully make some bangers. The tools I'm going to be using today are VISCO, Serum, and Synplant 2. If you're not familiar with these, VISCO is a drum modeling synthesizer. It analyzes incoming samples. It doesn't play those samples back, it just resynthesizes them using its own synthesis algorithm. And then there is Serum, the wavetable synth that everybody knows about, and your favorite and least favorite producers use it. And then there is Synplant 2, which is a synthesizer that has its own unique take on iterative sound design. And it also has the Genopatch system, which lets you load in samples and it'll analyze those and figure out how to synthesize them using its own engine. I do feel a little bit guilty because I'm always telling people to learn their fundamentals and learn their stock tools before turning to third-party plugins for inspiration, but these have worked their way into my workflow naturally, and I really like them, and I think we can get some really cool results. I should say that Serum and Synplant 2 I bought with my own money. I demoed them, I liked them, I did my research, and I made the purchase. VISCO, however, I will say that I did get my license from the guys over at Forever 89 because they saw the video I made demonstrating the free demo, and they liked it enough to send me a copy. Always do your own research, always be your own judge, be an informed consumer, do not succumb to gear acquisition syndrome, which applies to plugins as well. Okay, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into it. So here's a little kick drum I made in Serum. Nothing amazing, but it'll get us started. One of the things I love about Serum is that you can take the last note you played and then you just click and drag on this little box in the corner here. Click and drag, you get the last note that you played as a WAV file. So that's awesome, especially for this process because both of these plugins you can just drag WAV files into. So if we take this, drag it over here, we then have this in VISCO. You can hear that it doesn't sound exactly the same because this is not playing back samples, it's modeling it and synthesizing it from scratch. We can then move the slider over to the other side and then load in another sample. Just for fun, let's load in something that is not like a kick at all. Let's say that hi-hat, which I made in Synplant. Then we can morph between these two samples and get something that is kind of somewhere between a kick and a hi-hat. I like that. So I'm going to place a MIDI note here and let's just put something like that, make it short, and we'll put it on the resampling channel. And then we can do some further processing to that. So let's say maybe some saturation, maybe a little bit of grain delay, then we'll freeze and flatten. Then we can take that, save that as a clap. We'll call that VISCO grain delay clap 1. And then if we go into that folder, find that sample, we can then drag it into, let's say, Synplant, open up the Genopatch page, drag that in there, let it do its thing. So let's see what some of these sound like. I think I'm going to stick with that one. We can then close the Genopatch page and start seeing what kind of sounds we get out of this. So if you're not familiar with Synplant, it gives you this main page where when you load in a patch, you can then kind of stretch out these branches, which kind of just automatically generate variations of the patch. So then if I move to the next note, C sharp, and start to move that out, we get different variations. So we can actually just drag all of these out a little bit at once, and then listen to all of them. So I kind of like that one. I'm going to take that one and I'm going to put a note on the piano roll. I think it was that one. Yep. And then we can put some effects on that. Let's try Valhalla Room. Try some roar. Do some grain delay as well. What if we did some delay, some actual, just plain old delay, no feedback, and Okay, let's resample that. I think I want to crush that down to mono. And then we can save that as a clap. We'll call that Synplant, grain delay clap 1. And we'll load in this one that I made yesterday. And then we'll load in the one that I just made today, just now. And then in that middle ground, we have something completely new. And then we can stretch the time scale, make it last longer, change the frequency. Then we can resample that. And we have that. We can save that as, we'll call that VISCO morphed clap 1. So I'm not going to just sit here for like 2 hours and record the whole process of throwing samples back and forth between these tools, but hopefully it gives you an idea of the process of this type of sound design and how it can be useful to just process and resample and process and resample until you just fill up a whole folder, a whole library of sounds that you can use in your tracks. As you saw, I was also doing plenty of post-processing using stock plugins. Those are just as viable for this type of process. I've just been really into these plugins lately. I like them. I think they're useful. But by no means am I trying to suggest that you can't achieve this without these plugins. You can do amazing stuff just passing things around between stock plugins and resampling and processing and resampling and so on. So I'm going to keep doing this for a little bit today, and if you're interested in getting some of the sounds that I make, I'm going to put them all in a folder and upload them to Patreon when this video goes live. So that includes tons of hats, a few claps. I'm going to make more of these, a few kicks, which I'm going to make more of those. And yeah, so that's all I've got for today. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.